Welcome to Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubbell Realty Company.
Well, welcome to Dig It. I'm Derek Haugen, Vice President, Indigo Living. Today with me, I have Cy Fox, Executive Vice President, CBRE. Cy, welcome.
Thanks, Derek. Happy to be here.
Well, I guess a little bit of conversation was what brings us together today. And I think the theme we were talking about is 10,000 units. With you, you've now sold 10,000 multifamily units in central Iowa and beyond. And for Indigo, we now manage 10,000 units. So 10,000 kind of seems to be the theme. And that what brought Cy and I together today to talk about talk over apartments and multifamily. So a little bit of background. I've been with Indigo now for 15 years. Started as a property manager for a community on the south side of Des Moines. And at that time, Indigo had about 1,700 apartments between Des Moines and Sioux Falls. And 2009, growth started all the way to the 10,000 today. And as it grew, my role grew to a regional manager, regional vice president, and just over 3 years ago, that transitioned to vice president. So
Just climbing that ladder over there.
steady. So I guess, Cy, with that said, talk to me about kind of your background and what got you to 10,000 units.
For sure. I was fortunate to begin my career at Hubbell Realty Company back in 2012.
Woohoo, by the way.
Yeah. It's cool to see how much the market's evolved since then, which I'm sure we'll talk about today. But first started out as a leasing agent, and I was leasing up new construction developments throughout the metro. So it was a great experience for me to be able to kind of learn the business from the ground up, learn the market, learn how properties operate efficiently, and was able to translate that into my career at CBRE.
And some of those units, I mean, we're downtown right now, and I'm thinking like Rocket Transfer, not far from here, like walking distance, 7th Street Brownstones. I mean, size roots within multifamily. I mean,
They're like right outside this door.
Exactly, they're right here.
I've been fortunate to see a few deals come full circle as well, where I was involved on the lease up, like Rocket Transfer lofts, and then
cool.
Cityville as well, and to be able to sell those for Hubbell down the road. So. But things were a lot different back in 2013 when we were leasing up Rocket Transfer lofts, for example. When that building delivered, we got CEO. It was fully leased.
58 units, 58 leased.
And with a waiting list.
Yep.
Not to mention.
That's wild.
I remember that, yeah.
And then Wynn Hall at Williams Point was another great example, delivered in a few different phases, 206 units in Waukee. And
yeah.
As each building delivered, it was fully leased and had a waiting list ready to go. So times were good then. And we've seen a lot of new units come online in our market, roughly 16,000 since 2016. 32% of the inventory was added in the past 8 years. So a lot's changed, but
that you think about that though, that's great because look at those options that now exist. Mm-hmm. In the last 8 years, the quality of the option to rent within Des Moines, that for me, that's what gets me excited is people have options and people have great options. So, that's a large unit count in really the last 8 years, but I get excited. It's fun to watch, whether the stuff that we get the opportunity to manage or whether it's somebody else developing and managing, it's moving the market forward and moving Des Moines forward is really kind of what gets me excited when we talk about that growth in multifamily. So
in addition to excitement, it makes me a smidge jealous because I think of when I was renting downtown, I'm like, oh, well, now that would have been cool to have. Which one would I have lived in? Yep. It just would have been a totally different choice, different game, and it's cool to see all the amenities and all the different packages and things that people offer now, whether it's us or someone else, another apartment.
Same with location,
true.
If you want to live downtown, it was for the most part heavily saturated, it was really kind of around the Court Avenue, and you see the growth in East Village or down the Ingersoll corridor, and it's just like, oh, this is fun. Like those are some areas where, like I said, the options were a little bit limited. Same thing when I rented downtown for a brief time too as well. So
Yeah, downtown's got its pockets now. It used to be just downtown in general, and now you've got Western Gateway and East Village, Market District, Gray Station. So it's really evolved. But
Speaking of evolved, I mean, you kind of started us in on the, the background of how you guys got there, which nice brief background, by the way. You didn't go into like too many stories, but we'll get
There's
there.
a few.
I'm sure there are.
And then there's the stories we don't talk about. So
Well,
we'll stay off those.
But you guys overlapped then when you first started at Hubbell.
Yep.
In some way, kind of on the same team. But how do you guys work together today? For those listening who maybe don't know that CBRE was once a part of Hubbell, as CBRE Hubbell Commercial. Even though we're no longer affiliated today, we still have a ton of great relationships and people that we work with over on your team as well.
Yeah, I don't think I could have timed my leap into brokerage any better. I'd like to say it was planned, but a lot of it was luck. And I joined CBRE in 2015, doing multifamily investment sales. And up until that point, I think, most of the investment sales years were probably $50 million between Polk and County or Dallas counties. And then in 2016, that number rose to 100 million. And then from there, it grew up to 200 million in 2020. And then in 2021, it doubled to over $400 million in investment sales. So it's tailored back a little bit since then, but we're still projected to be over 300 million this year. So there's still a big appetite for multifamily investment sales in the Des Moines market, and expect that trend to continue. But it takes a great team and great partners like Indigo Living to help get deals done, and Derek's been a great partner for us on the management side.
A lot of it, there's a connection that happens when Cy's working with a potential buyer. A lot of times they're looking for, and we'll talk a little bit about this later, where some of those groups are now from, and the transition that's happened with the outside groups outside of Des Moines, whether you're talking East Coast, West Coast, or anywhere in between. But a lot of times, they get Cy's underwriting. They see what Cy's expecting the deal to do, and they're looking for somebody, boots on the ground, that can, validate, or is there additional opportunity? And in all fairness, a lot of times Cy sends them on to myself and to Indigo. And so that's been a lot of that relationship too. And I'll give Cy one full appreciation that not only myself, but those groups that I get the opportunity to talk to, there's a feedback, and I don't know that it always gets it's all the way back to Cy, but his accuracy for when he underwrites something, and again, I think I go back to the fact that he was
in the market.
Boots on the ground, doing that leasing. And so that appreciation for, really trying to come in with an accurate number, an accurate valuation. And, the other thing I would tell you that comes out of some of those conversations, two things that another thing that Cy and I have in common is we may even be considered a little bit on the conservative side. Whether that's him doing a BOV or if that's me projecting rent increases through renovations or repositioning or something. I tell everybody, like, I'm going to give you something I can land, something that I can deliver on. And I think that same thing is said about Cy, when he's talking to sellers or buyers, he's landing on something. This is something we can actually deliver on. So, and I think it's been a reason for both of our successes along the way too. So.
Well, you kind of alluded to the growth, right? Going year over year, and you mentioned the dreaded year of 2020 and maybe even 21, where people, just the whole market changed for both of you guys in different ways. And again, kind of going from the management side over maybe to more of the brokerage side. What has changed, or how has the market evolved in, from 2020 or even from 21 into a year like 24?
Yeah, I think, we've continued to see a good supply and demand balance. And there's a lot of investors that are, buying deals in Des Moines today because they're betting on basis, and we're still, offering better returns than a lot of other markets out there, and still able to buy deals significantly below replacement cost. We've had 17% rent growth since 2020 market wide,
And I think you talked about it too. That rent growth. When I talk to different groups, that rent growth and the basis that we're talking about, those are two things that some of the other markets, especially outside the Midwest, haven't seen sustained. And I think, you talk about deal flow as well. I think it continues with that. I had dinner 2 weeks ago with a group that has a portfolio here, and they've got a portfolio, a couple other markets as well. And that was their feedback was, we've seen a drop off in deal flow in our other markets. And yeah, we've seen a dip in Des Moines, but nowhere near. I mean, the activity still seems to be higher than some of the other comparable markets. And I think that's a testament to, the matrix of and talking really about we're still seeing the income growth and the revenue growth even in these years where it's starting to stall in some other markets. So
yeah, the national rent growth year over year is less than 5%. The Midwest is 2.7%, and Des Moines is 2%. So
yeah,
interesting.
Just to kind of put a plug in there on that. I just reviewed for this year within the Indigo portfolio. We're gonna be like right around 3.4. So, I love when Cy comes with numbers, and Cy always comes to me with numbers.
I knew he was going to come with the stats, so I didn't have to.
Yep.
That's not my strong suit over here in communications, but I knew Cy would come with some good stats.
But the second part of that always makes me smile is when he comes with the numbers, and then I look at what we've been able to accomplish and know that we're doing something right. So
people kind of refer to us in like a bubble. Can you like explain the bubble? What is it? I mean, we still feel the impacts of interest rates and fluctuations and inflation and all of that stuff. But can you go into that a little bit more? Like, got a bubble? Either of you can start. Either one.
I think for me, we just see it from, and again, especially when I start talking to groups that are in multiple markets, but whether you're talking about a drop, keeping it specific to multifamily, but a drop in occupancy. We work with groups and everybody's targets usually tend to be around 95% occupied, right? We want to be having 95, and here, if you drop to 91, 92, there tends to be a reaction to it. And, I talk to other groups where they're like, it's typical for us to be at 88, 89 in these other markets. And so, especially when you talk about those external economic factors that are kind of driving that. And it just seems like with Des Moines, it's we're going to take a dip. We're going to take a dip down to 92. We're going to take a dip maybe into the 90 or something if there's some heavy lease up activity or something like that. Same trend I see really with like concessions and on that front as well as we'll see some concessions, but we don't get the extremes concessions that they'll see on the East Coast or West Coast. And I look back and think about the biggest component that really I think exposed that was COVID, where you had areas on the coast where here's 6 months free.
I was going to say a concession for those at home is not like where you go get the hot dogs and the popcorn, by the way.
Fair.
Just, as you guys try and chuck out acronyms and things, but concessions are those
specials,
the specials, the deals.
The deals. Yeah. Yep. So we'll see them. We just don't, like I said, we just don't see those extremes. So I think when we talk about that bubble, it's just that, we don't have the low lows and we don't have the high highs. The phrase steady
nice
eddy.
To be consistent, isn't it?
Let's just be the steady eddy. So
I've got some more numbers to throw at you.
Oh, please.
Smile on my face. Smile on my face.
Des Moines MSA is 5.5% vacancy right now. That's right in line with the national average.
Nice.
Waukee, West Des Moines are right around 4.5%. CBD, downtown Des Moines.
Yeah. Central Business District.
6.5%. And Ankeny's 3%. So that just shows how resilient our market is. We've delivered just over 2,000 units year to date. And so it just shows the resiliency of the industry. And
can you guys go into like some of those like submarket. Do you call them submarkets? I'm going to get the terminology wrong, but that's okay if I maybe get it a little bit. Like those the other markets, and not just downtown. We're talking kind of all over central Iowa.
Well, and again, Cy came with numbers, and the smile on my face, the one that really kind of put the smile on my face was the 4.5% in the Waukee area. I mean, because you think about
hot topic, yeah,
and you think about all the new apartments that have come online there really in the last 18 months, and there's still some under construction and delivering. But like I said, for that submarket, as Claire outlined, to still be sitting at 96.5%, 95.5%, that's impressive. Like I said, that makes you smile.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Yeah. 1,100 units have delivered in Waukee year to date. So, yeah.
I mean, we're on that trend, right? Like we have Converge Northwest. We have Realto out there that just delivered. So, I mean, those are, townhomes, apartments. It's a cool mix for someone who lived in Waukee for 5 or 6 years, 3 or 4 years ago. It's changed drastically. Target was in my old backyard, which I'm glad I would have been way too close to Target living in Waukee today. But it is neat to see it to grow and expand and everything. It really is.
Well, and then here's another one. You talk about the population growth that's happening in Ankeny. And then you hear 3% vacancy there. Like,
but how many units have delivered in Ankeny though in the last 12, 18 months?
They've been they're averaging somewhere around 250, 300 units a year probably in Ankeny.
Yeah, it's like a little bit on the lower side, maybe comparatively to Waukee, but I think that's just room for opportunity, really.
It is.
And they've seen some of the highest rent growth too, 20% since 2020. So
really interesting. I love that. What other supply and demand? Because I know you guys are kind of on that. Or where do you want to head next? That or resident preferences. I know, Derek, you can talk to that probably all day long if you want, but
you can talk more pipeline if you'd like. I mean, there's 2,700 units under construction in Des Moines MSA right now, which is 5.5% of the existing inventory. There's an additional 4,100 units planned that should break ground probably 2025, 2026, which would be about 8% of total inventory. So while we've delivered a lot of units, there's quite a few more on the horizon as well. So there's a chance we see, some pains in rent growth and more concessions in the short term, but confident that it'll continue to level out.
Yeah. I mean, and with the occupancy numbers that you just referenced, I mean, the fact that we've got submarkets in 3, 4.5, and 5.5%, that's, that suggests it's okay. Let's add them. And if there's a time to add them, I'd rather add them now than, when that vacancy is low or higher than what it is now. So,
yeah, Des Moines been top 2, the fastest growing city in the Midwest, 2 consecutive U.S. Consensus Bureaus. So that certainly helped with rent growth and absorbing units, and also attracting out-of-state investors to our market as well.
And Claire, if you're okay, I think I head down that path a little bit.
Let's go. I was going there too. You read my mind.
Right. So, because like I said, we've both seen it. You've seen it as you're bringing these deals to market. I'm seeing it. Talked a little bit about that history or whatnot, and I like to reference, just 5 years ago, Indigo, from a third-party management standpoint, had under 500 units in third-party management, and today that number's 5,500. And the big 2 things that lead to third-party management: transactions, Cy selling things, but then also him bringing in outside owners and equity groups that are looking for a local management company. And like I said, so when we talk about that, those are the feeders. And we've seen that. I mean, we've got groups from the West Coast, East Coast, the Colorado, the mountain areas, Southeast. So, like I said, you're right. Des Moines on the map. And
certainly,
I also get probably a call a month, probably from a group that's like, "Hey, do you know anything that's available off market?" Even because we've got Des Moines. The number of people who Des Moines on our radar. I hear that from every group, and I hear it every month from somebody new who's like, we're looking at Des Moines. We're looking at Des Moines. It's like, you should be,
Yeah.
And in all honesty, should have been 5 years ago already.
Right.
So,
Yeah, our job's to, craft a compelling story and push a narrative, and Des Moines made that easy for us with the steady job growth and population growth that they've had. It's an easy sell to investors. It's not uncommon for us to have 20 offers on a deal, and the hardest part isn't bringing the buyers to the table. It's, selecting the right one and making sure that you're...
And telling 19 that they didn't get selected.
Yeah, I'm not envious of that part.
You try to parlay them into another deal, and everybody's happy.
Yeah. That has to be kind of a fine balance, right? Of just of your role and what you do. What do you enjoy most about your role today? I mean, again, it's kind of evolved over the past decade or so, but
yeah, I think my favorite part is talking to all these out-of-state investors and educating them on the market, and bragging about Des Moines per se, and trying to convince them as to why it's a great market here. And
love that. Central, do they call it Des Moines or is it Central Iowa? Because I want to be fair. Like, that goes beyond Des Moines, but...
Des Moines MSA.
Okay, that's all right. Fair. Derek, what's your favorite part about... I'm going to flip it over to you. What's your favorite part about what you get to do today? And it can be different. It doesn't have to be super statistical or related, to... Because you have a big team that you manage.
I was going to say, I'm going to break it into two. I'm going down two paths. One is I want to talk about the internal. We talked about that growth from when I started with 1,700 apartments to now over 10,000. The most exciting part of that, though, has definitely been the growth of the team. I remember when I first started, we'd meet in a clubhouse, a property clubhouse. The whole team would be there, all 27 of us.
I'm laughing because I'm picturing the team today.
Yeah, right. And now that team's over 200, 200 strong. And just like my with that growth has brought the opportunities that I've had the opportunity to flow and grow with. But what gets me excited is seeing that exact same thing for members of our team. Those promotions, those opportunities, the number of leasing agents, leasing consultants that started that are now property managers or now area managers and stuff. And that's been the most exciting for me, is watching the team grow, watching the team continue to develop. And so internally, when I look at it, it's the people, because and I sound not be the first person to ever say this, but I come to work with people. And I've got a great group that I get to work with, not just the Indigo team, but the development team, the construction team, and everyone beyond that.
The marketing team,
the legal team. We've got an amazing legal team, and
yes, we do.
And not everybody says they like to talk to attorneys, and I love it. So,
they keep you in check.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, there's a foundation within the organization that is the reason I get excited to come to work every day. Externally, I'm a relationship guy. Love the opportunity to develop new relationships. You talked about talking to people and selling them on Des Moines. It's kind of the same thing. It's not, you're selling them on, you want to be in Des Moines, and in addition, you want him to go to manage your stuff. And like I said, so I've been told for quite a few years, it's like, hey, for your role, you sure like the deal. And it is. I mean, there's a competitive spirit of, I want to land that management contract. And again, to get there, it's a relationship. It's developing those relationships. So, yeah, like I said, it's people on the inside. It's people externally as well. It just looks a little different, but without a doubt, the most fun that I get to have.
Without forecasting too much, what are some of the trends that we might see in 2025, whether that's, with some of our new apartments coming online, or maybe even things that you're noticing in the market that are either happening nationwide and might start happening here, or vice versa?
I'll jump in. We're wrapping up budget season, so we just completed our.
It's a blast,
right? 2026 budget's pretty much in, and we're being conservative on
Next year's 25.
2025.
All right. I'm just making sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keeping you real.
I'm ready for 26. Is that?
I'm ready
is that a
too.
problem? All
Sure.
right.
Let's
Here we
go.
go. But 2025 budgets wrapped up. And within that, when I go back and look at what we did from 22 and 23 into 24, we were budgeting for, that 4, maybe even 5% of income growth. And we've slowed that down. We're at 3. So I think you're going to see, go back to the traditional 3%, is at least what we budgeted. On the expense side of things, we'll continue to see the pressure from, increases in insurance, property taxes keeping up with, every time Cy sells a deal, at a record deal, the assessor follows suit and increases the property taxes, the corresponding property taxes. So, taxes, insurance, are two of our larger increases on the expense side. But yeah, I think that occupancy wise, Cy talked about the units in delivery. It reminds me a little bit of, some 2016 to 2018 time frame where, there's going to be a little softness in the market. There's going to be time to absorb those units. But in the long term, it's going to be fine. So I think part of the reason I say 3% is we've got some concessions in some of those submarkets, specials, as Claire pointed out earlier, that we're underwriting for, knowing that we're going to have to help absorb those. So that's my look into
that's your conservative outlook.
Conservative 2025 outlook now. So
2025 is a big year just for state of Iowa too. Yep. It's a reassessment year.
Yep.
So the past 3 reassessment years, we've seen about a 20% increase in Polk County on multi-residential property. I'm hoping that's half of that this year.
Right.
We also have the rollback that's fully implemented now, which has helped offset some of the tax increase. But we used to get away with underwriting insurance at $300 a unit, and those days are long gone.
Yeah.
It's at least double that now, so makes a big difference on a large property.
Yeah, valid. Well, I know you guys just released a multifamily report a little while ago. We'll link out to that so people can see what, I know CBRE puts out their own report, but then you and your team put out your own Des Moines MSA report, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep. Next one will be mid-January.
Got it. So you can read the last one, catch up, and then you can read the next one somewhere in between all the holidays shindigs that we have going on. But I find those super insightful for people listening or watching who haven't looked into those. They link out to them on the business record a lot. I know you were just featured in Des Moines Register as well. But just kind of giving those, trends and forecasts and all the insightful statistics that you like to bring to the game.
Absolutely. I always tell my team we're advisors first and brokerage comes second. So we want to be a great resource for everyone in the market.
Love that. One other question that popped into my brain. You guys were talking about, we kind of went down the amenities or some of the things that Iowa has going for it, but what amenities or features are becoming, increasingly important to attract and then also retain residents, rental wise? I mean, that could be within your, community or, apartment community, or that could be outward as well. You have some really cool things coming to the market, some really awesome projects that have been announced as well. Anything off the top of your head?
If I'm looking internal within the community, the fitness center still remains the number one.
Number one all the time in those surveys.
Number one sought after amenity on a property specific. The pools are still differentiators where we can have those, put them in, make them work. And then from there, you're starting to see some variations. I think pickleball courts are becoming a little more popular. I should go backwards. Behind fitness center, number 2 is the dog park. So
people love their pets, me included.
Making sure there's a space for them. So yeah, like I said, those are some of the community ones. When you're talking about within the cities and so forth, I mean, obviously there's been all eyes on, the soccer stadium, for example, and some of those larger municipal attractions that that we're looking for,
like
and so
bike trails, water trails,
yep,
all those things.
So
connectors.
Like one of the most unique amenities I've seen in our marketplace is when you guys delivered level with the marketplace, and then also the outdoor gym. Those are two that you don't commonly see, but I think they're great additions.
Yep.
I like that one too. I tried to do a poll up on that. Didn't work. Just letting you guys know. If you needed that visual for you, it was one of those times where I'm like, I think I can still do that. No. Nope. Well, are there any other topics before we go into our off the rails question, which I know Sai's really looking forward to? It's his favorite. It was all
he was talking about before we came in here. He was like, they're going to ask us a question that's not going to be related to anything.
He tried to convince me to tell him the question this morning, and I said,
I'm ready for it.
No, that's not how it works. Are there any other topics? So as you guys related to multifamily market, 2024 is nearing its end, and we're headed into 25. I know that we just appreciate, obviously, both of you and your expertise and just taking the time to come on and enlighten us a little bit about the market.
Here's to 20,000 units in the next 10 years for both of us.
There you go. How long?
I said 10, but
he's being conservative.
That's great. That's
that
great.
Conservative underwriting.
Yes, it
right?
is. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm good with that.
I love that. All right, random question off the rails. Are you ready? It's really not hard. Sai, you have to answer first since you were so nervous about it.
Whatever.
What was your best birthday? You can go from like when you were a child all the way up to this year if you want. And I know that you guys got some years in there. I won't say how many, Derek. But your best birthday.
I'm going to go with my last one.
Yeah? Why?
Just because your best birthday is always your last.
Because it's freshest in your memory?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you... Okay, a little bit more, please. Like, did you get something like the best cake? Or did you go out to eat? Or did you just have time with the family? Like, what was so good about it?
Good family time. It was my first birthday with my son as well. So that was special.
I love that.
Yeah.
Derek?
Interesting twist to this.
I love this. I knew there would be.
So, my wife, Sarah, her birthday, it is stop everything, and we celebrate her birthday.
Is she a birthday month person or a birthday week or just a day?
It's the day,
okay.
but it's her day. It's her day, and I'm the contrast of that. Of, you know what? I don't need a special dinner. I don't need
just another day kind of guy.
Like, hey, well, we're in. Let's acknowledge it. That's fine. And the kids and her definitely make it a special day. But that's when you say what's your best birthday, for me it's I'm gonna go with if you're pinning me down to one, 40th. And I think the big thing is oh my gosh, what's it gonna be like when you turn 40? And again, in that same theme of it's another day, it was another birthday, it was another year. So, like I said, I'll go with that one just because as people, try to make it some daunting number or some daunting day it wasn't. It was a great day. And again, but yeah, birthdays, it's within our house, it's a very interesting contrast there of hold the presses.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. But like I said, recognize it and we celebrate accordingly. So
I love that.
That's all you can do.
I love that. See, was that so bad?
No,
great.
It was great.
No, Sai's like, please don't ask me another one. That's all I'm asking. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time. Again, I know you could go into the weeds really heavily on multifamily, and we're not going to forecast too much. We leave that to the forecasters, right? The powers that be. But very glad to have your expertise and insights on all things multifamily. If you want to watch this, you can catch Dig It on our playlist on YouTube, or if you would rather just have music for your ears, you can catch this wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, you name it. And that is all for Dig It this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.